And on the eve of a national election, the Postal Service started removing 671 high-speed mail sorting machines across the country.
Well, the mail must go through. The mail must go through. No matter if it rains or snows, the mail must go through. Maybe you grew up singing this song. I know I did. It's a harmless little ditty celebrating the steady reliability of the United States Postal Service, affordably keeping all Americans connected since Ben Franklin became the first Postmaster General in 1775.
You have ended the 240-year history of delivering the mail reliably on time.
Some folks live in a city, some live in a little town. Even if you live out on a farm, there's a postman making his rounds. Or at least that's how it used to be. But our USPS has come under attack. For the first time in 228 years, the mail is backed up, arriving late. Mail's getting lost, and I even heard that boxes of baby chicks are arriving at farms with dead birds inside. And people want to know why. Well, I wouldn't be doing this song here today if I didn't have a pretty good idea about the reason.
You're doing this on purpose.
It has to do with the TV show Fake President and the upcoming election. You see, because when you mail a ballot, you can vote from anywhere. On foot, by truck, by aeroplane, the postman gets it there. But Trump's election nervous, so he hired Louise DeJoy to wreck our postal service. He's a GOP good old boy.
How can one person screw this up? You sent out a letter. Embarrassingly, the post office can't guarantee that we can deliver the mail in time for the elections in November.
But in addition to delivering a record number of ballots, the Postal Service is one of the largest employers of veterans, with 97,000 employed. It's also the service millions of seniors and people with disabilities rely on to get their medications, and that's not something Washington should be messing around with. The mail must go through. The mail must go through. Don't let the joy suppress your vote. The mail must go through. The mail must go through. The mail must go through. For veterans, seniors, medicine, the mail must go through. Before the big election, he cut hours and overtime.
Mr. DeJoy?
DeJoy decommissioned sorters. The House said, hey, that's a crime.
You are not being honest.
Service, not a business for the people of our land. It's not meant to turn a profit or put money in greedy hands. Well, the mail must go through. The mail must go through. Don't let the joy suppress your vote. The mail must go through. I said the mail must go through. The mail must go through. For veterans, seniors, medicine, the mail must go through. But it's not just Trump who's burning our service up in smoke. Republicans have been scheming for years to make it broke. They don't like things that serve us when the rich can profiteer. In 2006, Bush sabotaged it. It was broke within 6 years. Seriously, in 2006, Bush signed the Postal Accountability and Enhancement Act, but only after insisting it include a requirement for the post office to pre-fund the retirement health care benefits of all employees for decades into the future. No private business is required to do this. It's a manufactured crisis. Well, the mail must go through. The mail must go through. Don't let the joy suppress your vote. The mail must go through. So what can you do about it? Well, one thing, you can call your obstructing Republican senators and tell them it's past time to pass the USPS Fairness Act. The House Democrats passed it in February, but the Republican-controlled Senate hasn't even gotten around to voting on it yet. It must have gotten lost in that pile of hundreds of bills that Mitch McConnell is hoarding on his desk like some kind of congressional Scrooge McJerk. But calling the Senate isn't enough. You should also check your voter registration and register if you aren't. Then request an absentee ballot or a vote-by-mail ballot. And when you get it, make sure you vote early. And if it's an option in your district and you're able, return that darn ballot in person at a ballot drop box, or the county clerk, or the registrar, or even the local board of elections. I guess it goes without saying, make sure you use that ballot to vote Donald Trump out of the White House and vote to get rid of every damn Republican in Congress. They've all been carrying water for him, covering up his crimes, while carving up our public services to give as handouts to their billionaire buddies. That's one of the reasons why I'm voting for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And I'll be voting blue down the entire darn ballot. Well, the mail must go through. The mail must go through. Don't let the joy suppress your vote. The mail must go through. I said the mail must go through. The mail must go through. For veterans, seniors, medicine, the mail must go through. My state of Colorado and my home state, Utah, both have been safely and securely voting by mail for almost a decade, along with Hawaii, Washington, and Oregon. Every state should make it this easy. They verify signatures, track ballots online, and there's never been a word or worry about fraud until Trump saw he was behind in the polls, and then he started squawking like a spoiled dictator, saying, "We've got to get rid of the ballots. There's going to be mass voter fraud like you've never seen." Only there's not a shred of evidence. FBI Director Chris Way said,
"We have not seen any kind of coordinated national voter fraud effort in a major election, whether it's by mail or otherwise.
Ever. It's not an issue. It never has been. In other words, Trump's lying. Again. You know he just makes stuff up. It's his distraction plan to create chaos, spread poison, and doubt. Well, the mail must go through. The mail must go through. Don't let the joy suppress your vote. The mail must go through. I said the mail must go through. The mail must go through. For veterans, seniors, medicine, the mail must go through. So voter fraud isn't a thing, but voter suppression is. And the only folks who ever try to make it hard to vote are folks who don't want you to vote. Like the Republicans in Georgia who shut down polling places in black neighborhoods, leading to 12-hour lines. And look at Texas Republicans. They just removed 11 of the 12 ballot drop-off boxes in Harris County, making it harder to vote for seniors, people with disabilities, people with jobs, or people without cars. Of course, residents sued, but surprise, they were denied justice by 3 judges who were all appointed by, guess who? Donald J. Trump. Do you see the pattern here? Some folks are predicting a higher voter turnout in 2020 than our nation has seen since 1908. 6 in 10 voters want to vote early this election, and due to coronavirus, nearly twice as many voters plan to vote by mail in this election than in the last one. And that's going to call for some patience and some diligence. If it's a close election, Trump's probably gonna say, don't count those mail-in ballots if it's better for him that way. But that's not democratic, and we know Trump loves to cheat. Vote early if you can, and then demand count the ballots even if it takes weeks. Now don't be surprised when Donald Trump tries to call the election early, or tells a bunch of lies right before your eyes to get a decision in a hurry. He'll call out fraud without evidence. He might claim to be God in his arrogance while he's looking for a judge who owes him a favor or a rigged state legislature. That'd suit him. Anything you can do to stay in power, because Trump hates democracy almost as much as he fears going to jail, which is where he'll be headed if the New York State prosecutors catch up with him. I hope they do.
The mail must go through. The mail must go through. Don't let Donald Trump erase your vote. The mail must go through. I said the mail must go through. The mail must go through. For freedom's sake and democracy, the mail must go through.
And most alarmingly, in a move of indescribably evil despotism, Trump is actively encouraging his base of deranged vigilantes to form an army of poll watchers. Know this. If they're not officials, they're criminals. They have no authority to stop you or to ask you for your ID or to harass you in any way. And they know it. So if anyone tries to intimidate or harass you while you're voting, don't engage. Just take a picture of that person and report them to the ACLU at 1-866-OUR-VOTE. And if you need help making your voting plan, go online to iwillvote.com. Thanks for listening to my long song. I'm Aaron, Ukulele Loki, and this is your neighbor speaking. You can like, subscribe, and follow my posts on YouTube and Facebook, or support my show with a tip via Venmo at Ukulele Loki. Now go vote.